Whistleblower, okay, whistleblower. 5 years ago, never heard of it. 3 years ago, now it is an enormous problem. Again, OSHA is in the employment business. Forget about sticks and needles. So what is it? If you have an employee, and it is not a matter of if, it is when you will have a disgruntled employee because you fired them, demoted them, discharged their mother from patient care. Employees go to 3 places when they're ticked. OSHA, okay, HIPAA, U.S. Department of Labor, and sometimes the state, 3 to 4. That's where they go. That's where you complain. That's where your exposure is. So when you have an employee that is disgruntled, or not even disgruntled, and they file a complaint, you cannot touch that employee. You can't touch that employee. You can't fire him, you can't lay him off, you can't give him a leave of absence. You can't even investigate. Okay? So we work very closely with the investigators for OSHA. Depending on the states, we have certain contacts that we work with. And they will tell us that your doctor is questioning the employees. You need to tell your doctor to stop that, because that is interference with a federal investigation. So you can't call that employee in and say, why did you file the complaint? Or, did Mary file the complaint? Why did Mary file the complaint? You need to go ask her why she filed the complaint. Okay? You can't do a thing. So here's what happens. Okay, in your handouts, again, I wish I had enough handouts, and whoever didn't get these, I'll be more than happy to either email them or send you a package. Please let me know. So our client, in July 1st of this year, gets a letter from OSHA. You have an employee who's complaining about unsanitary conditions, roaches in the office, filth, bloodborne pathogens not cleaned up, needles not disposed of. I got this. I said, I want a picture of everything in your office. I want your office pictures. He sent me 200 pictures. I only had 6 operatories. He sent me 200 pictures. I said, I don't see any of this. I said, let it go. We'll respond to it. Don't do a thing. Let's deal with it. So what does he do? Initiates investigation. Demotes the employee. 7 days later, July 7th, he gets a letter. He's now in violation of the whistleblower statute. 7 days later. So the OSHA complaint is going to be dismissed. Okay? The whistleblower violation, I got a problem with. That's hard. Okay? So what happens? Employees complain of discrimination. They have the right to file the complaint. They have the right to do it. You can't do a thing about it. And they will. Unsafe conditions, again, the list. So the government says, you know what? If an employee filed it 90 days ago and you fired them today, you are in violation, presumably, of the whistleblower statute, because you fired them because they filed the complaint. And you are saying, I didn't even know they filed a complaint. How am I supposed to know? So the government says it's presumed that you know they fired a complaint, or they filed a complaint, so you fired them. So you've got to do that dance. Now, there are ways to fire an employee even though they filed a complaint. You've got to document your personnel file. I will stress that. Everyone you know, every consultant is here today will tell you, you've got to document your file. You've got to. Because if not, you are dead in the water. If it's not in the personnel file, it never happened. Okay? You go in front of the U.S. Department of Labor with a complaint, not in the file, you're dead, it never happened. You go in front of the hearing in Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, it doesn't matter. You're dead. You've got to document it. So what's violation? So when you get the violation of whistleblower statute, like my client did here, the OSHA complaint we got rid of. Now I got the whistleblower issue. Now I got federal violations. In a dental office, I got federal violations that is now going to the Solicitor General's office of the US government. Serious stuff. So 90% of the time, they'll dismiss it from our experience. Everything's going good, but you got to go through the dance, and it's a nasty dance. So then what happens? If they find you violated it, you got to pay back wages. The beautiful thing is now you got to reinstate the employee that you just fired. That works for a great relationship. Okay? You couldn't stand them when you fired them, and now you got to hire them back. That's where you fire for things other than OSHA. You fire for different reasons, and you've got to document it. Okay? Got to document it. And you got to pay the legal fees, which we love. 900,000 lawyers love you for that. So what do you have? 3 things you got to have. You got an employee manual, because you've got to justify all this. Without an employee manual, you cannot defend a great discharge for an OSHA violation. If it's not in the manual, you have no guidelines, you got no force. Every employee you have needs a non-disclosure, because as soon as that employee finds out that they have actually, well, as soon as they find out that OSHA is now after you, guess where they're going? Especially when you fire, they're going straight to the internet. If you have a non-disclosure, they can't reveal anything. Other than that, you are dead in the water, because they will put everything they want to on Instagram. They will put you on Twitter. They will put you everywhere. Social contracts, got to have it. Got to have it. Okay? Your associates got to understand what OSHA is. Because we have clients that have associates that are running these practices, and they have no idea. We had one that fired an office manager without consulting my client. Bad news. Social media policy. Every office should have a social media policy, and I mean a Facebook policy. Not the print, not the post it. Cell phone policy. You now have staff that is recording your conversations. Okay? And posting them on the internet. You don't even know it. Then internet policy, we're going to get into cybersecurity a little bit. You can't have employees tracking stuff on the internet at your office. And all this goes back to the OSHA issue.